What is rebranding? By definition, rebranding is to change the corporate image of someone or something. Essentially, change the image of something or someone into something else. Now you may be wondering, when does rebranding ever happen in K-pop? Rebranding in K-pop is a tough slope to tackle. However, there are some groups and idols that have done it to some success. A great example of this would be Dreamcatcher. Once known as Minx, Dreamcatcher essentially rebranded themselves in order to not only stay afloat, but to find niche success. And a 2023 update shows you that they are going on their second US tour in the last year. Dreamcatcher is the perfect example of how to rebrand yourself, but other artists have also done similar things. Yena, an ex-IZ*ONE member, has recently switched from a cuter, more bubblegum pop concept to a darker R&B concept. BTS and Twice both did gradually similar things with changing their sound over time. BTS's concept growing out of the reckless boy phase and into more of a mature teen crush concept, while Twice underwent a change during the Fancy era, going from a cuter pop sound to something closer akin to girl crush. I want to clarify that both of these groups didn't necessarily fully rebrand themselves, more or less grow into their own shoes, but these are the closest examples I could think of to rebranding your music. Enter Kim Chaewon. Chaewon is a former member of IZ*ONE, massively successful former produced group that still lives within in the hearts of many fans. IZ*ONE always had a very strong, elegant concept to them, focusing on more shiny sounds and fairy-like concepts. They were also very uniform in nature. A lot of their choreos were known as being very synchronous and very pretty to watch. However, when members have a very uniform theme going on both in their choreography and how they're presented, a lot of IZ*ONE members ended up lacking a lot of on-screen individuality. I'll be the first one to say that IZ*ONE is loved by many, including myself. Many ex-IZ*ONE members have been able to show off their individuality a lot more after they've been removed from the group. Artists like Jo Yuri, Yena, Kwon Eunbi, Wonyoung, and Yoojin following the elegant concept in IVE, and Chaewon and Sakura and LE SSERAFIM. Chaewon always had a very fairy-like concept on stage with IZ*ONE, as did most of the other members. They put her in a lot of dresses, she sang in much higher registers. IZ*ONE's choreography focused on synchronous movements with a lot of fluidity. Chaewon was more like a princess on stage, if anything, and it was very successful. People really loved her and still love her today when she was in IZ*ONE, which made what happened next even more surprising. When LE SSERAFIM teased their concepts and eventually debuted, many were surprised to see a much more confident, borderline badass looking Chaewon. She had a very sleek black bob haircut, they fit her in tighter wearing dresses, shorter shorts with crop tops. Her makeup was also a lot darker than what it was in IZ*ONE. It was a completely different vibe than what we saw with IZ*ONE. The way she moved on stage, the way she sang, her stage presence, virtually everything about her was just a little different. Now, Chaewon is crowned as the official leader of LE SSERAFIM, and I never really took Chaewon too much as a leader when she was in IZ*ONE. She never gave me a Kwon Eunbi type energy. She essentially was, to me at least, just a puzzle piece in IZ*ONE. But I think a major part of her rebranding in LE SSERAFIM is the way she has handled being appointed the leader position. Now I want to clarify in saying that Chaewon is essentially the same offstage than what she was in IZ*ONE, albeit sometimes she has more of a mature way of talking now because she is the leader after all. During the documentary that HYBE dropped about the creation and formation of LE SSERAFIM, we got to see a lot of struggles and the process that, Chaewon had to go through as being the leader, dealing with injuries, dealing with constant practicing, struggling with the anxiety of changing an image in a whole new group and leading a team for the first time. With all this being said, I think she has handled the leader position incredibly well for the circumstances that she was put in, especially within the first couple months of them debuting as a group. Losing a member that the other members adored so much so soon after the debut of a group is hard, especially for a brand new leader. From the outside looking in, Chaewon has seemed to do a great job at handling the situation. And I do truly think it is a huge part in the rebranding of herself in Le Sserafim, taking on a much more mature role compared to what she was in IZ*ONE. So this new version of Chaewon is different. She was more confident, she was more in your face, but this pales in comparison to what we would get next. Look, in all reality, Antifragile really blew up for all the members, not just Chaewon. The fun reggaeton sound paired with a youthful, confident image was a fantastic pairing. However, none benefited more from this than Chaewon. She now seemed to be fully embracing her new confident side. She even leads off the song with a new look, now having a slightly longer bob with blonde undertones and an incredibly attractive all-denim outfit on. Now, while IZ*ONE and Le Sserafim have completely different concepts, I still think it is an interesting point to bring up the fact that Chaewon is now being dressed in more confident clothing. They seem to be fully embracing the sexy side that we never really got to see from her in IZ*ONE. I think it's really all the small things that make the most change, like looking the camera up and down, poking the tongue into the cheek, the coy nature in which she plays and interacts with the camera. It's a very sly confidence she plays with, and I think she executes it to perfection. This new look, this new Chaewon was a hit in the K-pop community. It felt like overnight, she was turning everyone into fans. She started becoming the biggest bias wrecker in K-pop. Like, she was absolutely blowing up. People started seeing her as a completely different Chaewon, and I think in the long run, it's for the better. I do want to highlight the fact that a lot of people counter the rebranding of Chaewon as, well, she was always like this because she did songs like Panorama and IZ*ONE that were like a little more closer to a confident concept, when in reality it was the same concept that IZ*ONE had been doing with a slightly different sound. Like, Panorama Chaewon definitely shows some of the more confident aspects of her on-stage presence, and I know that a lot of this video could sound like me taking away from her IZ*ONE career in IZ*ONE as a performer. I heavily disagree with the fact that she's the same performer, because that takes away a lot from what she said that she wanted to do coming into Le Sserafim, with being a more fun personality on stage and being a different performer and being better than she was in IZ*ONE. I think a lot of people who say, oh, she's the same Chaewon, it's like you're kind of taken away from her progress. And if you compare the way they style her and the way she performs on stage in Antifragile to Panorama, it's like night and day. And I really do not see how people think that's the same version of Chaewon. I can't get it through my brain. During the documentary series, Chaewon expressed some of her thoughts about moving on from IZ*ONE and growing as a performer, specifically how she wanted to give the audience a new and fun image, even though she did say that she worried about how people weren't going to accept this new image after the more elegant concept that they had in IZ*ONE. So this shows me that Chaewon's rebranding was not a product of Le Sserafim's concept, rather she went into Le Sserafim with the mentality of changing over to more of a confident girl crush concept. She expressed that when she was under Willem, she wasn't progressing, and because of IZ*ONE's style of choreo, she wasn't able to get much better throughout their contract, which is a big part into why she joined HYBE as quickly as she did, to show something, quote, that's new and better than when I was in IZ*ONE. Through the process of integrating into Le Sserafim, I think she's become a much better performer on stage, a better singer, and has been able to craft a completely new and innovative image for herself in the industry. One that has directly led to the success of the group and becoming a very strong leader in the fourth generation. The argument here is not whether IZ*ONE Chaewon or Le Sserafim Chaewon are better. It's really just up to concept and personal preference. If you like the elegant concept more, you're obviously going to like Chaewon and IZ*ONE more. If you like the more rugged, confident concept more, you're going to like her in Le Sserafim more. What needs to be highlighted is the impressive way in which she was able to leave IZ*ONE this elegant concept with a very defined image and completely rebrand herself in a new group with a completely new concept and a new image. It's a lot harder than people make it out to be. Chaewon is a perfect example of flipping the script, rebranding yourself in order to cut ties with the past and move on to potential greener pastures. Debuting Chaewon with a more mature, confident concept was the best decision that she and HYBE could have made. Because honestly, not that many people associate Chaewon with IZ*ONE anymore. There's plenty of people who remember her in IZ*ONE, but people don't associate her or keep her tied to IZ*ONE like maybe some of the other X members are. She is now a member of LE SSERAFIM, and she has a very defined image with LE SSERAFIM. And when that happens, when you cut those ties and separate yourself as an artist from your previous iteration, you've succeeded in rebranding yourself. Now all that remains is, what happened to Sakura? Wasn't Sakura an ex-member of IZ*ONE too? Did she rebrand herself to fit this LE SSERAFIM image? And the answer is a little more complicated than Chaewon's. Sakura is less about rebranding herself and more about rediscovering herself. But that is a topic I want to cover in another video because that is a very big kind of dialogue to tackle. So until then, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys hopefully in that Sakura video.